How's it going, Sens fans? This is Hainsey Hockey coming at you with a new video. Today we're going to be breaking down everything that happened in the offseason, or what hasn't happened yet. We'll get to that in a second. I also want to briefly touch upon the rookie game and the rookie camp that's been going on for the Sens over the past week. So, first order of business. Where is that contract extension for Brady Tkachuk? I am not really worried about Brady Tkachuk not being signed right now. Training camp's about to start. Brady Tkachuk is still without a contract extension of any kind, but he's still coming to camp anyways to train with the team, which I think is really respectable on his part. Pierre Dorion does not like to operate with the media. He reminds me of a modern Lou Lamoriello, and I'll get to that later in this video with a few of the signings we have. But he doesn't like to negotiate through the media. He doesn't like things to leak out, and I think that's totally respectable, and that's the way things should be done. A fair contract comparable to Brady Tkachuk would be the one that Andrei Svechnikov signed in Carolina, which is just toward $8 million a year. It's like 7.95, I believe. It might be a bit steep at the start of the contract, but I definitely think it'll be a steal years to come, especially when he's in his prime. We also got to give him that C. Where's that C? Brady is the heart and soul of this team. Fans love him. He is the face of the franchise. When you think Ottawa right now, you think Brady Tkachuk. If you're not thinking Tim Stützle or Shabbat. I also wouldn't worry about him still being an unsigned RFA. There are lots of teams that still have some notable RFAs assigned, such as St. Louis Blues. Got to sign Robert Thomas. And you look at the Vancouver Canucks, Elias Pettersson and Quinn Hughes. We just got Brady here, and it seems like things are going a little more smooth than they were before. So, praying for that contract to be signed soon. I am not super worried. Now, Pierre Dorion made a really bold move, and not a lot of us saw it coming, but he signed Drake Batherson long-term. 6 years, $4.975 million per. That is going to be a steal of a contract, if you ask me. Some people say it's a little steep. That's a lot of money for Drake Batherson right now. Sure. Maybe it's a bit steep for the first 2 years, but if he's scoring 20, 25, 30 goals in the middle of this contract and he's making less than $5 million, that is a steal, and GMPD should be applauded and given all the keys to the city. This move gives the Senators security long term, and it also gives Batherson some security long term. He doesn't have a no movement clause or anything like that, so he could be flipped at any time. However, I feel that is pretty unlikely, since he's going to be a part of the core going forward. His contract is structured so he makes less at the start and more toward the end. So by the end, he's making about $5.4 million a season, and he's starting out with about $2 million, and he's working his way up gradually. And I think that contract structure is pretty fair for his trajectory and where he is right now. He's going to be making less toward the start of the contract, and he's going to be making his big bucks, but hopefully he's in his prime. This was a solid move by Pierre Dorion, and I can't wait to see what else he has. Now, another contract signing we need to talk about is Filip Gustavsson, our amazing goaltender who stole games toward the end of the season and was the bona fide starter, without a doubt. Signed a 2-year contract extension with the Ottawa Senators. Year 1 is $750K, and it's a 2-way deal, and the next year is $850,000 as a 1-way deal. So basically, this foreshadows that by year 2, he's going to either be the backup or the starter, considering it's a 1-way deal. And Anton Forsberg's deal will be expiring at the end of the season, so it leaves room for Gustavsson to take those reins, wherever those may be. Now, this all really depends on how Matt Murray plays. If Matt Murray has a solid season, then Gustavsson can play in Belleville, or he can be safe in the backup position. But if Murray gets injured, or if Murray's not playing great, and Gustavsson's able to come in, be the starter, steal a bunch of games, and win a bunch of games, all for less than $1 million, that is quite impressive and quite a steal, and gives us a lot of room to work around in terms of building a contender if that happens to be the circumstance. The other RFA that had a lot of controversy surrounding them was Logan Brown, and he signed on Saturday during the rookie game, and he finally signed a 1-year, 2-way deal worth $750K. In the AHL, he'll make $100,000 next season, and if he plays in the NHL, he'll be getting $750K. This is a make or break year for Logan Brown. I feel like I've been saying that every year, but it feels like the tension has really built up. There was a lot of drama just trying to get this contract signed. There was rumors he was going to play in Europe, and he was going to be waiver eligible, and teams could grab him, and all of this other stuff that was being thrown around. Essentially, they protected him in the expansion draft, so obviously they know he still has the potential, and I think the Sens want him to be a part of the core going forward. I think they still see that centerman they envisioned he'd be when he was drafted in 2016. And with the way our center core is built up right now, you've got Josh Norris, Shane Pinto's projected to be up in the top 6, and then he's got Tierney and White. And if you could have Logan Brown slot in any of those two, then you have a solid 1 through 4 punch down the middle, and you can flip other guys wherever you want to go. You can put some on the wing and stuff. So having Logan Brown, ideally, if he could make the team this year, that'd be great. And then you have to worry about a contract extension, but we'll worry about that later. Right now, Logan Brown is either going to be a part of the core going forward, or he's going to be a trade chip. And I think a lot of Sens fans would love for him to be part of the lineup and finally see him break through. His issue is he's just injury prone, and he hasn't been able to consistently play in the NHL at a high enough or good enough level to maintain a roster spot. And when he plays in the AHL, he puts up points, but he gets hurt a lot, and it's frustrating to watch this talent not be able to produce. All the best of luck to Logan Brown. I hope he breaks out. If not, I think a fresh change of scenery would be good for both him and the Ottawa Senators. Now, the Senators made some depth signings early on in the season. One of the notable ones was Pontus Aberg, and they also signed a few other people. Those are just depth signings to bolster Belleville. It's just to keep them competitive and respectable, considering that a lot of the talent is moving up to the NHL and the prospect pool is going to be deleted soon. And the last contract extension we need to talk about doesn't belong to a player. It belongs to our general manager, Pierre Dorion, who I call GMPD, and he is signed now through 2024-2025. Now, Sens fans are kind of torn on this. Some think they should have waited to negotiate an extension at the end of the season to see if the Senators progressed, if we made the playoffs, if we were in the playoff hunt at the very least, or if we were at the bottom of the league and got another lottery pick. They should have determined the outcome. Because as Pierre Dorion has stated, the rebuild is supposedly over and we're entering a new zone. And that's very vague. We don't really know what that zone is. But Pierre Dorion, despite the 3 years of crap that we had, with all the trades, all the players leaving, Carlson, Stone, Duchesne, Dzingel, everyone was gone. Pierre Dorion did a great job stocking up assets and building the future of this team. I mean, we all were like, what the hell? That's all we got for Erik Karlsson. And we look now, and we have our first line center out of that trade, Josh Norris, and our future superstar, Tim Stützle from Germany, who we got because of that first round pick since the Sharks fell off a cliff after that one good season with Karlsson. I think the Senators are built for future success, and the team we have right now is going to be wicked good. And Pierre Dorion should be getting praise for that and has a well-earned contract extension. However, only time will tell. Maybe I'll totally eat my words later, so we'll see.
So as I was editing this video, I went on Instagram to take a little break, and my feed is always full of NHL news, and it turns out that Tyler Ennis has signed a PTO with the Ottawa Senators. If that sounds like a familiar name, it's because Tyler Ennis played with the Sens in the 2019-20 season. He was signed as a free agent on a league minimum deal and brought in by request by DJ Smith along with Ron Hainsey, Connor Brown, and Nikita Zaitsev to be a veteran leader in that locker room full of young guys. I'm assuming he's going to have a similar role to help really form this team into a playoff contender if that is the case, because that is supposed to be the goal. He can put up a couple goals every once in a while. He's pretty solid defensively, but at the end of the day, it's still a PTO. It would be nice to see him back, but there are a lot of youth and prospects hungry, waiting to get a shot up the lineup. So we will see what happens with Tyler Ennis this season.
Now, the Sens had a rookie camp. We won 4-3 over the Montreal Canadiens on Saturday. We play again on Monday against the Montreal Canadiens in Montreal. It was a pretty good turnout. I'm not going to get too much into it. I'll wait for the other game to happen. Now, I did want to talk about some of the rookies because some of them are really pushing for spots. DJ Smith said that for training camp, when it happens, that Artem Zub and Thomas Chabot are going to be a pair, and they're going to try that. And if it doesn't work, they're going to go back to Zaitsev and Chabot because they feel comfortable with it. But if that's the case, they're going to go with Zub and Chabot, Delzato and Zaitsev, and then the two bottom six roles are going to be fought over by everybody else attending camp who wants to play defense. So it means rookies like JBD are going to be looking for a spot. Eric Brandstrom is not a rookie anymore. He's going to be fighting for a spot with Victor Matei and Josh Brown and Nick Holden. There's a lot of players fighting for 2 spots on this roster. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. The other gap we have is on the right wing. And that is because of Evgeny Dodonov's departure to the Vegas Golden Knights when we traded him earlier in the offseason. A lot of analysts and Sens fans were hoping maybe we go out and trade for someone like Tarasenko or maybe Adam Henrique to fill that void, but I think it can be done internally, and there's 2 rookies to me that stand out that could fight for that final right wing spot. Igor Sokolov was drafted in 2020, and he'd been passed over in the draft twice before. He was 20 years old when he was drafted, and each time that he was passed over, he attended the Columbus Blue Jackets training camp where he was cut, despite leading all the prospects in scoring during several of those training camps and development camps. He had a lot of adversity to get here. He came over from Russia. He had to relearn how to skate because apparently he was an awkward, lanky skater, and he learned how to speak English on the fly, and he lost 20 pounds in order to be eligible to be drafted and looked at by other teams as a potential piece of their core going forward. And the Senators were looking at him for the Cape Breton Eagles, and he said he admired his work ethic and dedication to the game. And Drake Batherson was a huge reason as to why Igor was able to learn English. He brought him out to team events and made him feel very welcome. Sokolov has been compared to as the next Mark Stone, potentially. He can score goals, and he's pretty good defensively. At the end of the AHL season last year in 35 games, he went on a torrid streak, and he racked up 15 goals and led the team in scoring. So that was one option we could have. The other one is Ridley Gregg, who was drafted 28th overall in 2020. Ridley Gregg's a fearless player, and every aspect of his game is amazing. He has a high hockey IQ, he's got a nice shot, and he plays a physical game that can be compared to the likes of Brady Tkachuk or new prospect Tyler Boucher. He just needs to work on that discipline. He's got 3 WHL suspensions so far in his career. But for Ridley Gregg, he's really got to prove himself and solidify himself out of camp. Because of the agreement between the CHL and the NHL, Ridley Gregg can either make the Senators roster for the NHL or he can play in the WHL. He's not eligible to play in the American Hockey League this year, which really sucks because you think a year in the AHL playing North American Pro against other North American pros would be really good for his development. But another year in junior would be decent for him as well if he's not able to make the jump to the NHL. But other than that, Senators play again. I know I said it already. Senators play again on Monday, and then there's going to be a bit of a break, and then training camp is going to begin, and we're getting very close to the start of next season, and it's going to be great. You know, watching the rookie game, you can see fans in the Canadian Tire Center. It made me tear up. It really made me tear up. Not gonna lie, it's really great that we're gonna be able to see the team live again. We've been waiting a long time. We've been waiting patiently, and we finally get to see this core we've been waiting for to finally blossom, and they can blossom live in front of our eyes at the Canadian Tire Center. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this update video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up, like and subscribe, share it with your friends, and I will see you guys in the next video. Go Sens, go!